So the next line item is vacancies. We have 2 vacancies in the city organization. This fiscal year, they represent $113,000. Next fiscal year, they represent $194,000. My recommendation is that we freeze these. They're frozen. The word is frozen. There's no funding for them. Okay. The next one is transfer salary cost to other funds. We have identified about 3 positions that can be transferred either to the sewer fund or to the recreation fund. That would be change duties that they could be charged different from the general fund to those funds. That amount of money translates to $113,000 for this fiscal year and $194,000 for next year. The cuts that I'm recommending or changes I'm recommending effective March 1st carry through the next fiscal year, just so you know. So the number will grow. The vacancy grows, the transfer grows because there's more time that we're, this is a pro rata cost. We're starting from March 1st is my recommended time frame that generates the savings of $113,000. So it's the month of March, April, May, June for this 0809 column. 0910 is an annualized number for the full 12 months of 0910. Did you have a question? I saw. No? You're okay? Okay. The next one is the program. I am recommending that all full-time employees, including myself, participate in a furlough program. That would be a loss of pay or loss. We would actually work 8 hours less every month, leave without pay 8 hours a month. That translates to a loss of 96 hours per year per full-time employee. Salary reduction-wise, it's about 4.6% salary reduction. That is a cost savings to the city's general fund. That furlough date would start March 1st. My recommendation is that we close City Hall the first Friday of every month. So the first close date for City Hall would be March 6, 2009. Okay. The next recommendation is there's a limited number of positions that we will cut, and we will also have a limited number of positions that we're going to reduce their hours. We're going to reduce them from full-time to either 75% or 50% time. Okay, and that represents $155,100 for this fiscal year, and it translates to $574,000 next fiscal year. The final item is the unemployment separation payouts. We do need to pay people when they leave us. We'll be paying their vacation payouts. There's unemployment insurance that we will be responsible for. The city is not self-insured with unemployment. There's also medical payouts. And that is why we have a positive number there, because that's a cost to the city. The positive numbers are savings. The negative, in this case, is a cost to the city. Now, specifically the position cuts that we're talking about, I'm currently talking to Local 1, who represents the majority of our employees. So I will have I will give you more information on January 27th on that list with Local 1. We are working out some more details with that list. So, but I will have a final list for you and a final recommendation on with the resolution on that issue. Okay, give me the next slide. So why should we act now on our budget? Unfortunately, the economy continues to worsen on a local and regional and national level. At all costs, the city must avoid a negative fund balance in the general fund. We know we have a problem, we have to address it. My recommendation is that we have an 8% reserve level for cash flow purposes. As I said before, you have to have a buffer. We are in a situation now that we have to protect ourselves against any future state takeaways. Right now, I don't have anything in my estimates that say the state's going to take away any dollars from us. Okay, so unfortunately, because of our situation with we have a shortfall already from the economy. If the state decides to borrow $500,000 from us and never give it back, that $500,000 we have to find a way to pay for that. How do we do that? Basically, we'll have to find another $500,000 of cuts because we have nothing else to pull from. That's if they decide to take money in the general fund. The redevelopment fund is a total separate fund. You know, they may come back with the redevelopment agency, and then I'll have another suggestion on how to deal with that shortfall. But in the area of the general fund, right now, I don't have any more estimates for, I don't have an expenditure for state takeaways. I don't have any more estimates for any other unknowns. Likewise, I don't have any projections for any new projects because I don't have anything clear-cut to tell you. However, if I do have a clear-cut project to tell you about, I will certainly let you know, and we'll certainly start factoring those things in. We're certainly working on economic development, but with the economy, it's very difficult to bring in new projects. We must adapt to the lack of development. Right now, there's no new housing going on, and that the city, back in probably 2002, 2003, really started ramping up its staff because of new development, whether it's housing, some commercial, but mostly it was housing development in the city. Well, we don't have this. We haven't had it for over a year. Based on my conversations with the current developers that we have, we won't have anything going on really in 09, 10. If we're lucky, maybe Pulte will build a couple homes. So we must adapt. Our staffing must adapt to the lack of development in the city of Dixon. Finally, we need to plan for the future. We need to look beyond this fiscal year. We need to make our adjustments, and we need to be flexible when development does occur, that we can readjust and refocus and move forward again. So the next steps of this process, and this is again, I'm going to go through this, but then I also want to go back to some more detail in the packet. My recommendation is, and again, we're working on a resolution that would be brought back to council. This resolution would address all the employee units. It would be one resolution that all employee units, and the reason why it would, because it would be, the furlough program would be in the resolution, the positions would be in the resolution. We would have it all in one resolution, and we'd bring it back for your consideration. So we're currently working on that. So based on feedback tonight, that item will either come back January 27th next week, or it'll come back February 10th, our next scheduled council meeting. As I mentioned earlier, only the service cuts for 09-10 can be waited. We can wait on that until the next budget hearing cycle. And I know you had a series of meetings before on the budget regarding this, but I had to present both years for you to see, because we need to develop $1.9 million worth of cuts in 09-10 for service and functions to be able to bring our reserve level at the 8% level. You can't just attack it this year. We have to keep attacking the problem each year. So to illustrate that, back in your packet, the audience, I apologize you don't have a copy of this. There's the original spreadsheet that we've been, it's page 5 of your packet. It's the 5-year projection. So if you look at the 5-year projection, if you start with January 20, 2009, that's the 4th column over from the left, you can see that our reserve level is 11%, that column. And so what I'm presenting tonight are the cuts for that column, $581,000, and the detailed worksheets are in the back, as well as the cuts proposed for 09-10. That number is $1.9 million. You can see that cut, you can't just cut it once. We have to continue to cut $1.9 million. And this is assuming the same revenue pattern. And then 2011-12, we cut $1.8 million. We can actually cut less because our reserve level is getting higher. And as you can see, it continues to grow back up to 13 in 12-13. So we have to continue to cut $1.9 million, and then we can ratchet it down a little bit to 1.8. But if you look at where we were and the new projections based on our auditor's numbers, if we were at 18% reserve level, we're still not there, even after doing these cuts. We'll finally make it up to 13%. So this is we have a long-term, well, I should say this, we have a 5-year structural deficit in the general fund based on the current revenue patterns. But when you do a projection like this, you update it every year. In our case, we're updating it every 3 months, every quarter. So the numbers could change if dramatically the economy swings back in 10-11, then we wouldn't have to cut $1.8 million. That's why you do a projection like this. It's flexible. As each year goes on or each quarter goes on, you do your update, you have a better feel of the financial plan that you're working with. So specifically, I'd like to spend a few minutes on the details of the, let's start with the $581,000 cut. If you go to page 12 of your packet,